Yeah. Okay, I think this is working. This should be working. Hello. I am Max Cohn, and I am joined here today by my good friend Jordyn Buckner. How are you doing today, Jordan?
I'm doing well. I'm a little disoriented because I slept for like 12 hours.
What? What kept you up so late?
I watched this film called The Endless.
And why were you watching it so late in the night, or should I say in the morning?
Because I've got this nocturnal thing going on. I've got a streak going on. I've got to keep it. So.
Oh, don't keep it. End it. It's over. Wait, hold on. Let me just. Okay, I think this is the mic. I think this is working. So, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so my name is Jordyn Buckner. I was born in California, Pasadena, and at the age of 1, me and my family, we moved to Omaha, Nebraska, where I've lived for the past 18, 19 years. And now I live here in New York, where, the typical pursuing your dreams of writing and filmmaking. I've been doing
college.
I go to college at Borough of Manhattan Community College. I study video arts.
I told you that I babysit right next to BMCC.
Yeah, you did tell me that, didn't you? But
Yeah.
I'm not BMCC. I'm just in the building sometimes, so I don't get to wave to you.
But if I
Yes, I am.
Oh, really? What summer class?
I'm taking a multimedia production class.
Wow. That's what kinds of media?
It's like graphic design, pretty much.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty fun.
You should design some of my posters for my movies.
Yeah, I could do that. I love posters.
Great. Okay, so tell us about your filmmaking journey. When did this desire click for you? When did you want to do it? What was your reaction? What was the reaction from your familia?
Well, so I was a theater kid, and I loved acting very much. I loved acting. I loved making. I loved starring in plays, and after a while, I just started to really watch what my teacher was doing during our play productions, and I started to be more of like I kind of want to do that kind of person. And I threw around the idea of starting my own short film, but never really jumped into it because I realized that I had no fucking idea what I was doing. But shortly after, my dad got me in touch with a director in my hometown named Nick Fackler. And me and Nick Fackler had the opportunity to work together on a music video during my, during my senior year of high school. And
which year was that?
What year was this? This was probably, this was 2018, I want to say. 2018, 2017.
What? Yeah. You're old.
I'm old? Wait, I'm 2 years older than you.
Still, that's old. You were a senior in high school in 2018? You graduated in 2018?
I graduated in 2018 because I graduated early.
Oh, okay.
That was the winter of 2018.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So so you worked on the music video?
Yeah, I did.
And
it was a great time. It was amazing. It was one of the best things I've ever done with my life. It was like a total enlightenment. Like the second I was in those fucking rainy woods, shooting random bullshit. I realized that if I died holding a camera, there was absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Did you hear the story about the editor that loved editing so much, and he was like this big Hollywood director, but he only he stayed in this room editing his whole life, and then he literally died on his editing room table. Did you hear about this?
I've never heard about this. What's his name?
I forget his name, but it's like Hollywood lore that this editor was so committed that he died on his editing table.
That's actually really cool. That's like a that's probably one of the best ways to die, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of think about, I'm a Buddhist, so I kind of think about it as like what's your excuse to not be a monk? Like, because monks are meditating all the fucking time. So, like, if you're filmmaking all the fucking time, then you're obviously too busy to be a monk. But if you work at McDonald's for 40 hours a week and then the other 168 hours or whatever the fuck you're either sleeping or playing video games, then why not just go be a monk at that point?
Where do where and you're and this is like a relatively new thing in your life. You only started being a Buddhist probably like what it was like
This year, yeah.
this year. So where do you see filmmaking and Buddhism collide, and like where do you incorporate Buddhism into your, I guess, either writing or filmmaking, or where do those intersect?
Oh, that's actually a good question.
I should do this for a living.
There was there was a book I wrote. It was Notes on the Tenzio Kyokyin, which is the Tenzio Kyokyin is a instructional, like a short little instructional written by the monk Dogen Zenji as instruction for monks at his monastery to cook properly, and it was given contemporary notes from a more recent Mahayana Zen priest. And Zen priest who took notes on this said that a lot of us are born into this world thinking that we're born into a world that lasts long before we were born and will continue to last long after we die. But this is an illusion. The reality is that when we are born, a world is created, an internal world is created the moment we're born, and that world dies with us as well. That world that contains all of your experiences, all of your perceptions, all of your opinions, the world that is you, effectively. And so we're all effectively out here in our own little worlds. Like, we've got our own little bubbles going around. We might as well have like big fucking domes around our head because we're so disconnected from each other at times. But I believe that film is the one artistic medium with the power to take someone else and put them into your world. I think that with film, we can actually realistically show someone what it's like to look through our eyes. It's an approximation, but I feel like it's the closest one that we as humans have. And I feel like because of that, it's relatively meaningful. What kind?
Chocolate chip.
I actually don't like chocolate.
You don't like chocolate? You wouldn't take a chocolate chip cookie. Can I offer you one? Jordan just woke up, and I feel like
I've got a garbage bag full of pie that I'm still trying to finish.
you want frosted flakes.
I'll take a cup of orange juice.
Yes, I'll get you.
That would be amazing.
Keep on talking about
So yeah, I was just kind of saying that that film is just a great way to invite other people into your world. I think that that's important. I think that it's effectively empathy in a can, right? We can't possibly imagine what someone else is feeling, but when we're forced to be that person through the lens of a film,
I like literally live as the vicariously, which we're living as them, and we're experiencing. It's literally like the POV shot. It's like where your eyes are directly where the character is. It's like, a lot of film is making you just understand this whole new world that you never really had the opportunity to see. I definitely have had that experience with the Student World Impact Film Festival, where I'm an intern. It's like I see these films from all over the world, and whether they're good or not, most of them are really not good. They still provide an interesting. A lot of them provided because that's one of the ratings systems. It's what rating factors. It's like whether it provides an interesting perspective, or a diverse perspective. And honestly, it like usually that's like 5. Every time it's like 5 because the film can be shit, but they'll still be able to have an interesting perspective on a certain issue, or they'll be able to show an experience that not many people might know about if it wasn't for the movie. Um, so I definitely think that's interesting. Yeah. Um, so what are your thoughts on like success and like what do you think is success for you, and like what are your career goals, and like is there a plan A, a plan B? I mean, I'm just saying all this because I watched The Pursuit of Happiness for the first time last night.
What's that about?
Oh, it's with Will Smith and Jaden Smith, and it's about
Oh, in order he's broke as fuck.
Yeah.
Gotta take care of his son, right?
yeah. Um, and like I was watching a video with like the guy that movie's based off of.
Really?
Yeah. I was watching a video and he said, you know, hold on, I'm blanking. He said, yeah, have a plan A and don't have a plan B because plan B is boring and no one likes plan B. Stick to your plan A and make a plan. Actually, make a plan. And so, what do you think is? Do you have a plan A, a plan B? What's success for you? Yeah.
Well, I guess I'd say that I'm definitely guilty on that first part, or I don't really think my plan is very thought out. Where I like the idea of having a rinky-dink production company and running it out of my apartment with a few friends, but I've never actually made any steps towards that goal.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, here I am reinforcing my plan B over and over and over again, which is
What's your plan?
potentially becoming a monk and just like dipping out and never paying my student loans back.
Uh-huh.
Like that's literally my plan B, and I think it's a good idea. But at the same time, I really do enjoy filmmaking, and I want to stay somewhat married to that. I love horror films so much, and I don't think, while there are monk filmmakers, I don't think that horror films would be very becoming of a monk. So,
Really not.
I do want to stay somewhat secular for now. If I do end up having to work some sort of job to pay the bills, I think I'd like to work in TV or something where I can still be on a set or in a creative space somewhat. Yeah, I think really I'm just trying to make a lot of films while I'm in college, and then after that, just hope I luck out on the employment lottery.
Honestly, it's so easy to. I think this is a great angle because I can see you very well. I don't like talking to you where I can't see you. I can see you here. I think there are a lot of jobs in the film industry, from production assistants to assistant production assistants. It's like, everyone has an assistant. Everyone needs someone, art assistant, camera assistant. Everyone needs an assistant. So, and they pay well. The jobs pay well. If there's no writer's strike.
You need a CA.
CA?
Camera assistant.
Camera assistant. Okay. Usually it's assistant camera.
There's AC. If you need an AC, I'm right here.
Yeah. But there's so many jobs and there's so many ways. I was just on Mandy, and there's a job that pays $1,000 a week. Like that's like great, like for like a production assistant. Mandy, it's a place to get jobs in film and television. Yeah, but that's the thing, is that the jobs are for big projects. It's not just like hop on a set one day, It's like actually like fucking like,
So not the best for college students.
No, I mean, if you can find the time, yeah, but most of the time you will not. Like it's just hard because I just don't have the time. That's the thing. But once I graduate, I'll just be able to like go on all these. Like I'll be able to have experiences that will give me the opportunity to do jobs like, you know, assistant camera, even editor, um, maybe colorist or, whatever. Like, hold on, let me check if this is working. Okay. I think it's working. Okay. So, but there's so many jobs and they pay well. And I mean, I don't like fear in life because it's like, you know, I mean, that I think, but obviously, like, making a living is, difficult. However, there are so many opportunities for young upcoming filmmakers. It's just, labs and grants, and I think the number one thing for me is just starting right away. I mean, my goal eventually is just to become a successful director, writer director. That's really all I want. Just
Work in the industry and sustain yourself like that.
Yeah.
Have an agent and everything.
um again, everything, it becomes 10 times harder when there's a writer's strike. But it's necessary to have a writer's strike, or else I won't get paid once I get to making my first, second, third, fourth, maybe even fifth feature. It's like,
For a while, I was thinking about becoming an agent. I got offered a job as an agent's assistant.
my God, where?
Oh my God, it's some company that starts with a C, not CAA. But it was a mid-sized agency, so it was like about the size of like something like Gersh, maybe.
Why didn't you take the job?
Because I would have had to quit school. It was full time. So,
How did you get offered the job?
I'm an assistant to a playwright and a publicist named Lori Graff. And she brought me up to one of her friends who offered me a job. So I'm hoping that when I graduate, I can come back around to that job offer. Maybe it'll still be open.
Hopefully.
They said they have a revolving door, so like
That's great. That's really great. I feel like I should be getting that sort of kind of job, but it's so hard. That's the thing,
being an agent's assistant is not creative at all. That's kind of, it's very left
but
brain.
it takes work.
It does take work. It's really hard. It's like good work though. It's not like some blue collar shit where you'll rip your asshole in two. It's like it's a lot of thinking. So it's good in that way. Like it's engaging, but at the same time, it's like it's not. I read a book on agenting and it's like it's not where people want to end up in the industry. It's like it's like people who are agents are just good at agenting and they want to be in the industry. Like they'd rather be somewhere creative. They'd rather be somewhere else.
Yeah. I think that I mean that's sort of my philosophy with college is that because I can't really have too many jobs like outside of that's the funny thing about the summer is that I took a camp job, and our friend Sydney is also going to be working at the same camp. And I was just like so hyped for, like I originally did not have anything planned for the summer other than this internship, which is a virtual internship, so who cares? But I didn't have anything planned, and then I took this job for the summer, and now I'm sort of like I could like the anyway, but I just I think back to my philosophy. My philosophy for college is like make as much shit as you can, which is evident by the fact that Jordan and I are literally going to start editing one of my short films right after this. Start editing. I have to admit, I did sort of organize some clips, like, clips that I knew I couldn't use because of copyrighted stuff. Like, I took those out. So, I just wanted to look fancy for Sundance. So when I submitted to Sundance, it will look like I had so many people involved in my in my film, even though it's just probably going to be like a few people in the end. Um, I should probably get Shy to do the poster or graphic design. Anyway, so, but just make as much shit as you can and then submit that to film festivals because the equipment and the time that I have right now in college is totally, I mean, for at least for me, like it's free. You know, um, there's no financial burden. You know, a lot of filmmakers have problems because, you know, they just don't have time to make a film and work a job to feed themselves and pay rent, you know?
And pay for their fucking film.
Yes. Um, so
So,
that's,
like a film is like a fucking baby. Shit needs a lot of money.
yeah.
How much is a baby? Like $100,000 a year.
I think it's something like that. It's crazy. Yeah.
Actually, shit. If you just never want to have kids, bring in a double income, you could probably make good, like a feature every year. Then
Yeah. Probably.
large size.
If you have a good savings account.
So get married, have films instead. If you can
I
afford a kid, if you can afford a baby, you can afford a film.
yeah. So I think that a lot of my time will be spent filmmaking and just trying to grind out every film I can and submit to as many film festivals as I can. Um, and that's the thing. It's just, you know, now I have to be a little more careful with the film festivals I submit to because, you know, I can't just keep on like wasting like a lot of money on film festivals that I'm never going to get into, but I also want to get into. I also have to just be reasonable. I can't submit some avant garde. I feel like my last short film, My Mom Is, was very like the ending was very ambiguous and vague. Even though I didn't intend it to be, I thought the audience would get it right away, but it was a little too vague. And now I'm realizing that's primarily the reason why it's not been getting into a lot of film festivals. I also think the sound problems are a problem. Maybe you can help me with the sound problems because I'm fucking struggling. You know, it's like, do you think you would know how to make? So I had this actress dub some of her lines, and I can't get it to match her other lines.
Well, something someone told me a long time ago is that if you have bad sound, you have bad sound. Like,
No, but like I had the actress dub her lines,
okay.
and I can't get that to match. The other audio is fine. I mean, it has like three minor issues.
Did you clap sync while you were recording?
What?
Like, did you have a clacker?
No, I recorded it with a microphone attached to the camera, but
And you didn't clap sync.
no, because it was attached, there would have been no point.
Well, but you're saying that you're dubbing anyways, so the clap sync would have saved you here
How?
because you just sync the second you hear the clap.
No, syncing is fine. I've synced the clips. I just can't make the sound of the dub match what the other talking sounds like. It sounds like it's dubbed. Like I can't get the. Maybe we'll play around.
This is later. This is you gotta show me what you're talking about.
Yeah. Okay. But you'll notice when you watch the short film, it's like, oh, you can tell that line is dubbed.
That line is dubstep.
True that. So tell me, what kind of films do you like? What kind of films do you not like? I mean, you've obviously said that you like horror. Um, what are some of your favorites? What are some of your least favorites?
Some of my favorite films. Shit. I think my favorite films rotate all the time.
What?
My favorite films rotate all the time. It's like what's your favorite food? It's like you're gonna say whatever you're currently hungry for. Like right now, I'd probably say Chinese food, but that's not necessarily my favorite. So one of my favorite horror films. on my mind right now is have you ever seen the film Brain Dead, or as it's known in the EU, Dead Alive? It's like this cheesy little zombie film, um, where like this dude's mom gets bit by like some rabid monkey, and she like becomes a zombie. He like tries to hide it, but eventually like his entire neighborhood gets turned into zombies, and he has to like kill them all. It's a pretty corny film.
Sounds corny.
It's good. It's a good
What are some other movies you like?
movie. Raw is a great one. Raw by Julia Ducournau. It's that's another horror. It's about a teenage grill who goes to college, and she through a hazing intro, she's forced to eat meat for the first time. And then she finds out that should I spoil it?
No.
No.
Okay. So
She experiences strange hunger.
wonderful. So, what? So, have you liked any of like the recent like commercial films, like the big Hollywood films, or are you just more like a indie kind of person? It, yeah.
Like, just, I mean, nowadays, if you know how to pirate, you can watch it of all time. So why would you watch the 15th Marvel movie or like the 30th James Bond
Yeah, I feel like but audiences are just like watching the commercial films, the Marvels, because everyone knows the characters and everyone, is
movie?
adjusted.
It's like a different like it's like a different kind of experience. Like sitting home alone in your home theater, and watching a film that you expect to learn something from is very different from grabbing your friends and family and your kids and piling full in a movie theater and watching whatever the fuck is on at the time. That's completely different, I feel.
But also there are films in theaters, not I guess not as many as the commercial ones, but there are films that are supposed to make you think and make you and supposed to move you and I would point to like The Whale, like, which I really liked, or
You really like The Whale?
I did.
I heard nothing. I've heard nothing but The Whale is corny. All I've heard about people say about The Whale is that it's ridiculously corny. I thought Brendan Fraser was an actual fat guy, and then I found out that he's not fat. They just put a fat suit on him so he could shoot a fucking drama. Why didn't they just hire a fat actor?
A 600-pound actor?
Yes, I'm sure there are 600-pound actors. There's actors of all shapes and sizes. They
don't
found
know.
that fucking dude with cerebral palsy for Better Call Saul, and he was fucking amazing. For Breaking Bad, he was amazing.
600 pound. I don't think there's a 600-pound actor.
I'm sure there was a producer or an agent who said, "We're not going to find a good actor with cerebral palsy. We're not going to find a good teenage actor."
Well, by the way,
And they did.
Darren Aronofsky did spend 10 years trying to find an actor for The Whale and couldn't find any actor.
Really?
Yes.
They spent 10 years on this shitty script.
No, he spent 10 years trying to find an actor after seeing the play.
Oh shit! I knew it was a play. But
Yeah. Obviously, it's one setting. What, like, you should have expected that.
I thought it was a play, especially hearing that like he got like his wife character who's a ghost. Like that's some play shit.
His wife is
A ghost, right?
no,
I thought his ghost wife was in it.
no. What?
The Asian girl.
His nurse, who is real and alive.
That's his nurse. Okay. Well, I haven't seen the film, so
Well, why don't you see it?
well, because people told me it was corny.
Well, it's not.
Okay, fine. I'll watch it. But if I watch it and it's corny, I'm gonna.
I feel like I watch a lot of the Oscar films just so I can have an opinion on the Oscars race. What the fuck did I just? Okay. God, what the hell? So like I had like a lot of opinions on this. It's funny because you saw Everything Everywhere all at once.
I did not.
You did not. Oh, okay.
I'm so bad with in theater movies. I'm so.
What was the last movie you saw in the theater?
So last movie I saw in theaters, uh, Seirafuku to Kikangju. It's a Japanese film, Sailor Suit and Machine Gun, that was like shot in like 1986 or some shit.
Where did you see it?
I saw it at Japan Society, which is a.
What was the last? When was the last time you saw a movie in AMC or Regal?
Like a contemporary film.
Yeah.
Theater. Had to have been like a year ago. I don't remember what it was. Like off the top of my head, I do not remember the last film I saw in theaters. I remember seeing Once Upon a Time in Hollywood in theaters. It was really important for me to see that in theaters.
Okay.
But I've seen something between then and now in theaters.
Do you think it's important for film majors and filmmakers in general to be cinephiles? For me, I think that it's insanely important. Not even just like with Oscar films, just with films in general. And I guess that sort of makes me a hypocrite because I'm not so well versed in the indie film world.
If you're not, would you expect a writer to read? Yes, of course. You have to know what the fuck you're passionate about. You have to know what you're doing. Like you can't. But
also there's
without ever seeing a film.
I'm not saying like never seen a film. I'm just saying like a love of like movies. Okay, no, okay. Not love movies, but like they've seen a lot of films and they make efforts to see films all the time and to be very opinionated about films.
I think you should watch.
I feel like that's what a cinephile is.
Yeah, I think you should watch as many films as possible. I think you should have strong opinions about the films that you've seen. And I think that seeing films that are terrible is just as important as finding films that you really love.
Well, yeah, because the films that are terrible, the film festival that I work for, seeing films that are terrible, they give you insight into into how to not make film. Like I was just watching a film literally like right before this. It was just coincidentally that my friend started it. And there was a shot where they're at the dinner table and then one of the guys leaves and then he leaves, but like because the dad, so it's like the dad and his son and the mom and then the friend is over for dinner, but that when the dad starts asking the son, hey, what are you going to do for college? The friend says, oh, I should go. I don't want to get into that. And he leaves. And then he leaves the room. The friend leaves the room. And then the mom, in this wide shot, or I guess medium wide, was blocking the dad and the son. She was blocking them as he walked out. And I'm like, what the fuck are you, like, I can't see them. Like,
it was like clearly a blooper.
No, it was like, I mean, he obviously put it in, but like, if I can't see, the point is that you're not supposed to block. Why would you have the mom stand there and block what the dad's reaction is? Because the dad must have a reaction because he's like, oh shit, did I I want to know, does he regret sort of pushing this on his son, or does he feel embarrassed that the friend is leaving? Is he upset? Is the son upset that his friend is leaving? And what are their facial reactions? I don't know. I couldn't see because the mom was blocking them, and I was like, just seeing the friend leave, and I'm like, and I couldn't even see her face. I was just like, well, now I know. If I'm gonna have people in a shot, I need to have and the reactions are important. I need to have everyone in that shot. So the point is, the bad films help you gain knowledge.
This is true, and so you're gonna have a lot of opportunities to gain knowledge if you watch a lot of films.
Yeah,
I think you should. I've been trying to watch at least one film a week, but like
that's good. That's good.
Try to really crank it up.
Yeah, I should definitely try to crank it up as time goes on. I should definitely try to crank it up because it's so hard during the school year,
You know
it's
what?
just like there's just no time.
I'd rather watch a film that's in your comfort zone than not watch a film for the week. So it's like, because I watch a lot of horror films to the point where a lot of other people are like, Jordan, you should watch films that aren't horror films. And
We should watch Bo's Afraid together.
I haven't seen it. I'd love to see it.
I haven't seen it either, but
Oh, you want to see it in theaters?
I don't think it's playing in theaters anymore.
Really? We missed it.
I'll have to check. But if
I heard it was. My screenwriting teacher said it was cringe.
okay,
He said just that the script wasn't very strong.
okay, but still worth seeing, right? The bad films help you gain knowledge.
Yeah, I guess, but seeing Ari Aster's first bad movie would maybe it might damage me a little bit.
Well, have you seen his others?
Yeah, I have seen all his films, even his short. I love Ari Aster.
So I think I would want to see it, but just because I feel like there's it's very mixed. It's like some people love it, some people hate it,
Yeah, that's right.
So the conclusion that we've come to is that you don't have to be a cinephile, but you should have a very good knowledge of films and try to watch.
You should have an encyclopedia. You should be able to say, "Oh, I like this about this film and dislike that about that film."
Well, that's more of like an analysis thing, but I think like the problem with being a cinephile and being young like myself is just I just don't have time to watch every single fucking everyone. Everyone tries to recommend movies to me. I just don't have time. I'm like my letterboxd watch list has at least 20 movies that I've been trying to see for a while, and I just it's always like once I get like down to like at least 20. Once I get down to 20, someone will recommend a movie to me, and I'm like, ugh.
Did you know that Quentin Tarantino worked at a video store for 30 years?
Yeah. See, that's what I like about Tarantino, and that's what people, that's sort of like what I've come to acknowledge about Tarantino. I feel like Tarantino, Spielberg, Martin Scorsese to a certain extent, those are the ones off the top of my head where I know for a fact that they are cinephiles, that they watch movies all the time, and that they their filmmaking abilities came from the fact that they watched movies for so many years.
Do you think that
I've watched so many films.
could you imagine getting yelled at by Quentin Tarantino like at work?
Ooh, I would get so harsh.
You're late. You need to return these videotapes, you fucking piece of shit. What the fuck are you doing? You're wasting my time. You're wasting my life.
That's a good impression. Do you know he lives in Israel now?
No.
He lives in Tel Aviv, yeah, with his wife. I actually have no idea. I think because
His wife is Jewish?
I think so. I think his wife is Israeli, and that's why he lives in Israel.
Wow, that's weird. I never would have.
I would have never guessed that either. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, that actually. Yeah, that caught me a little off guard.
Yeah. Also, like, why wouldn't he live in Hollywood? Anyway, but his wife.
Why wouldn't he live in? I assume he has a house.
But also, yeah, but he's probably, he's gonna retire. So, he's making his last movie. He's gonna retire. So.
Yeah, Quentin Tarantino.
Well, you could bump into Aaron Sorkin.
Who?
He wrote The Social Network. See, this is when my cinephile comes.
And he is in New York.
Yes,
Okay. Well,
New York
if
based.
I ever see Aaron Sorkin at a bar, I'm gonna be like, "Hey, I haven't seen your movie, but I assume it was
Seen The Social
I haven't
Network?
seen The Social Network." No, should I watch it?
It's been acclaimed to be the best movie of the 21st century.
My dick has been acclaimed to be very long.
What if children want to watch this?
Oh well, sorry. Sorry. Just mute 20 seconds ago, just turned this on.
So would you say that you watch the films that you watch are mostly independent or old? You definitely don't watch commercial films.
I watch a lot of independent films, but I also watch a lot of big production films. I think I think I'd say it's about like maybe 55, 45. Because I watch a lot of old films, and there's a lot of old films that are like a lot more indie. Like, for example, what studio really produced Reanimator, for example? I think it just back in those days, it used to be like you have a good script, and the studio just gives you a shit ton of money to shoot it.
I actually don't think that's the. I mean, maybe like an old Hollywood.
Like in the
Like
80s, right?
no, the 80s had so many like script notes. Like, like that's the reason John Hughes quit filmmaking, because he was getting so many notes from studios. It just impeded on him creatively, and he couldn't continue making films because he didn't want the studio notes. And I think it really apexed with like Harvey Weinstein. Like, forget like the whole forget what he did privately. I think what he was, before everything came out against him, what he was known for was like, giving these strict studio notes and saying like no, like you will not, like we will, this movie will be an hour 40 and we will make it an hour 40.
So he's known for being a domineering asshole who took advantage of people who couldn't say no.
In both instances, yes, to the filmmakers and to the women. So I mean, well, to the women, he did a couple worse things than what he did to the filmmakers. He impeded on the filmmakers creatively, and that's I guess bad. Whatever.
It literally scarred people for lives.
Yeah. So, but that's what he did to the women was way worse. Studio, like you have on the bad meter, like you have like studio notes, and then you have like, or like in terms, sorry, the bad meter going up is bad. So it's like telling a filmmaker they have to cut 20 minutes out of their film, like and then you have what he did to the women in terms of the bad meter. So anyway.
You get me too'd for telling someone that the 5-minute monologue at the in the first act of their film is not very good. And they could be like, "Wow, Jordan, this is literally worse than what Harvey Weinstein did."
No, that's the thing I'm so afraid of. That's the reason I want to make a feature while I'm in college. Sort of like what Damien Chazelle did, because then you won't have studio notes. I feel like I look at Damien Chazelle's career a lot because I feel like his stories definitely. Then you won't have studio notes. I feel like I look at Damien Chazelle's career a lot because I feel like his stories definitely like resonate with the kind of stories I want. Like
I feel like the shittiest thing about trying to get a script made would be like the fucking like 25 year limbo of like waiting for someone to pick up your script. I think that's why I would want to do a film.
I mean, it's not only that, but like once you get, like, if you have a studio behind you, it's so like everyone's giving you notes, everyone's giving you suggestions, and then the studios will put boundaries on you. I mean, that's why when you look at Babylon, did you see Babylon?
I didn't see Babylon.
Have you seen any of Damien Chazelle's films?
I think so.
La La Land.
No.
Whiplash.
No.
Guy and Madeline on a park bench.
No.
First Man.
No. I know Ryan Gosling's in that film though. That's kind of what.
Okay, great. Point is that for Whiplash, for La La Land,
Okay.
which won a bunch of Oscars. I think it like broke the record of like most Oscars won except for Best Picture. Like it won the most Oscars and then didn't win Best Picture. I think it broke that record. But the point is that he was getting studio notes. He was getting notes from everyone for like his whole career. And he was always being told, no, we don't have the money. We don't have this. Actually, your film was too long. Let's cut it down, make it shorter, blah, blah, blah. Um, and then, like, he, like, became really successful with La La Land, which in itself had studio notes. And then sort of, did First Man, and then, like, started working on Babylon, which he wanted to originally. And then he worked on Babylon, and then he, like, Babylon is this 3 hour, like, extravaganza, some say mess of a film. It's very all over the place. I saw it twice, and the reason I saw it twice is that because the second time I feel like I knew it was going to end eventually, so I was just like, like, I could watch this as long as I know, like, that it's gonna end. Because the first time I was watching it, I was like, when is this gonna end? Like, this is never gonna end. Oh my god. But then it ended, and then I was just like, so that's the thing about the second time, is that I was able to just, like, sort of know what was going to happen, and appreciate it for what it was, and not just sort of have to worry about, being bored. But I think that's what it'll do to you, that the studio system, and then, because, like, he went to Paramount or whoever made the film, and he said, like, this is my script, I'm not changing it, don't make me change it, I have a fucking Oscar, you fucking assholes. And they said, okay, let the genius do his geniusing. But that's the problem. You have two ends of the spectrum that are not bad, that are not good. You have the one end of the spectrum where they say, you have to cut it, you have to make it an hour 40, you cannot make it any shorter. No, follow our notes, cut this line, make this character more likable, listen to our notes. And then you have another end of the spectrum. I feel like La La Land sort of worked because it was like, you had studio notes, but it was also a great film. And, then again, I would have liked to see the deleted scenes, but then I'm just like, I don't know. I feel like La La Land is kind of a perfect film. So I don't think the studio notes impeded on him too much. And then, and then he made Babylon, which is on the other side of the spectrum, where you just don't have any notes, and there's just, I'm not usually the one to advocate for cutting down a film. Usually I want films to be longer. My comfort zone is like 2 hours.
Most films are like 2 hours though,
or even like 2 hours 30 minutes. I'm fine with that. I was fine with Tar. I didn't think Tar was bad.
How long was Tar?
2 hours 20 something minutes. And Fablemans, I love the Fablemans, and I didn't think it was too long. But when you have a film like Babylon that's just so long, I was just like, no one gave him any notes. No one said, cut this scene that does not need to be there. That's just a ripoff of Singing in the Rain. There's a scene where it just literally rips off Singing in the Rain. And I'm like, okay, I know. I saw Singing in the Rain. It was great. I understood. I get the point. So, and also just tried to tell too many stories. It was trying to tell like 5 characters' stories. And it was just like way too much. Like, yeah. But I think a healthy amount of notes is good. And I think that, I think that films should be, they're your child, but you also have to regulate them, because you can't just make a film that's out of control. And then that's why Babylon got 55%, because it was so long. I'm pretty sure, I'm telling you, if Babylon was 2 hours 30 minutes, it would have gotten like a couple of Oscars at least. It would have been it would have been like unanimously one of the best films of the year.
45 minutes of bullshit.
I would 30 to 45 minutes of just like stuff that you just did.
A lot of bullshit that holds you back.
Yeah. I wouldn't call it bullshit. I would just call it just scenes you didn't need, or scenes you could cut down. Storylines that didn't really add anything. You know, there was just like the Asian storyline, the Asian woman storyline, and then the black guy's storyline. Why don't you just make a separate movie about him? I would have loved to see a movie about like the first black, trumpeter in Hollywood and what that experience must have been like. You can't just make a uh you know you can't just sneak his story in like, oh, here's the black guy who suffered from like racism. What? Like
So it's just a bunch of different movies in one.
kind of.
It's just like 3 different movies.
Oh no, it's like and then you have Jack Conrad. And then there was that cheesy scene. I love Damien Chazelle because I think it's basically about how old Hollywood and how old Hollywood was crazy, and I think like the old city of Babylon was like, went to madness, and I think that's what the parallel is. Yeah, it just like went to madness and everything. Um, but I think the problem was just it was
Act 3 like? What's the third act like?
terrible. Oh gosh, there's a scene they just wanted Toby Maguire to be in it, and they had this really long scene about and he was like, basically they needed to pay off this actress's debt, and then they borrowed fake money from the studio, like prop money to pay off this guy. Um, and then, but this guy's really creepy. They went into his like, yeah, and it was just so long. I was just like, you just do not need this. And then they had the scene with what's her name, Jean Smart, where she said, and basically Jack Conrad, played by Brad Pitt, is like this dying actor, not dying like physically, but like in popularity, like no one likes him anymore.
How long?
Oh, probably around like 45 minutes to an hour.
That's way too long.
It was insane.
If it's nearly an hour,
Yeah,
the fuck?
it was crazy. And look, because it's a 3-hour movie, so it's like,
So why is the first act an hour? Wait, no, the first act's what, like 40 minutes?
I don't know the
And
fucking
then the
math.
second-
I can't tell you the math of it. I cannot tell you the math of it. All I know is that hold on, I'm just reading. Okay. Um, all I know is it was just way too long, and they have the scene with Gene Smart and Brad Pitt, and basically Brad Pitt's the dying actor, not like dying in popularity, and she's like, like it doesn't matter because in 100 years, when we're all dead, no one's gonna remember you. And I'm like, that's so cheesy. That's so cheesy to put. That's like to put, like to put what's an example of that where they put like in an old in Hamilton when they said, like, oh, I wonder, like, like it was in Hamilton where they referenced the future and when they set the thing in the past, and I'm like, no one, like it did too on the nose.
There's
Two on
that one line in Black. Have you ever seen Black Klansman?
Yeah.
The one line in Black Klansman. There's no way someone like Duke Duncan would be in office, right? Remember that?
I haven't seen Black Husband in a while. Oh gosh. And then like yeah.
There's no way that someone similar to Duke Duncan would ever rally public support and end up in office.
Yeah. It's just too on the nose.
That's crazy.
Too on the nose. Yeah. I try not to be on the nose, and then I make stuff that's on the nose, and then I think we'll go to an hour, so it's like 7 more minutes. Okay. So, do you find that the independent films are better than the commercial Hollywood studio films, or studio films, or they're equal, or what do you think is the percentage of, and what do you think is the reason for each?
Well, I think that I feel like you can really tell when a movie is independent just by like the way that they budget it. I mean, so like I'm not really the best.
Did you see it? I haven't seen 1001. It's basically about a mom who's living in Harlem and has to raise her son in the late 90s, and early 2000s, and it's like, there are no wide shots, and there are no wide shots because they could not afford a big set to make it look like old Harlem. They had to, have, close-ups and mediums of the characters, so they couldn't have wide shots because, if they were to show wide shots, it would show 21st century, it would show 2020 whatever, Harlem, and not 1990 Harlem.
That makes sense. Yeah. But like it's shit like that that like signifies that it's like an independent production instead of like a studio. But like I think that
But just in terms of like the overall quality, like
I think it's more like they just failed differently. Where it's like you can have a ginormous studio production that is technically perfect, and then like there will just be no story. Yeah, I've never seen an independent film where there's just no story, but I've seen so many studio films where they forgot to put the story in. Like
by story, do you mean like plot, or do you mean like the story, like what would be like a log line or something like that?
like the plot. Like I don't know. Like I was watching Shang-Chi yesterday. I didn't finish it. I just walked in while a bunch of people were watching Shang-Chi. And there's just a lot of scenes with no real story value. There's like a good okay, I saw maybe 30 minutes of the movie and there was maybe a good 10 minutes of screen time with no actual plot value. Like sure there were some action sequences that were consequential in later scenes, but then there were some that were just like because they wanted to have an action sequence. There were a lot of people that got murdered by the main character who's supposed to be virtuous, and it's like obviously like it's not consequential to the story that he's killing people. It's like Aquafina is like half of the dialogue and she doesn't say a single thing that's important to the story. You wouldn't see a character like that in like an independent film where they're like, we're not going to pay for this actress who's just going to say nothing the entire movie. Like only a studio would waste money like that.
To just have the name.
Yeah, to just have the character, to just have it because you can.
It's like
There's no
Aquafina.
cuts with studios. The studios don't know when to fucking cut. What the studios don't know when to say no, that's enough. We have the story. Why would we put a bunch of bullshit on top of the story? That like it's like imagine if you were eating a sandwich and then you just pour a big box of Cheerios on top of the sandwich. It's like the sandwich is in there, yeah, but there's also a bunch of Cheerios on top of it. And what you're gonna be fucking eating the Cheerios for fucking 5 minutes before you get to the sandwich?
Yeah.
That sounds boring.
I don't watch Marvel movies anymore. I mean, I think I might watch the new Spider-Man eventually, but I don't know. I'm just not into it. I just just I fall asleep a lot when I watch Marvel movies.
Really terrible movies, and a lot of people like people would argue, "Oh, you could take your kids to them." A lot of people get murdered in Marvel movies. Oh,
There's a lot of violence. Why would you want this?
violence?
Why would you want your kids to see that violence?
People are getting stabbed in this movie. People are getting stabbed to death. People are getting thrown off buildings. People are getting set on fire. People are getting shot. Like, this is the shit you want to show your kids? I think it's crazy. That's like some American shit. America. Like, in my honest opinion, if you can show your kids Marvel movies, you can show them horror movies. Because horror movies with like no violence at all.
But like most of The Shining has no violence.
The Ring has no blood. The Ring doesn't have a single drop of blood in it, and it's fucking terrifying. Like, but in Shang-Chi, you see like 32 people die in that movie. They got like stabbed and shot and shit. In like the 30 minutes I saw, like 25 people die. And in The Ring, 2 people die, and there's not a single drop of blood.
So you would argue you're probably on like Tarantino and Scorsese's side where it's like you wouldn't consider Marvel to be cinema.
Like literally, it's movies. Yeah, like it's like
But like cinema as an art.
there's actors, like
I don't think that's what they're saying. I think
Like-
cinema is an art form.
consequential cinema. No, definitely not. Like I don't think Marvel is consequential. It's like it's like junk
Commercial.
food. Like if you eat a shit ton of junk food, you're still gonna be hungry. Like there's no nutritional value to a bag of Airheads Extremes. You're still gonna be hungry after you watch that. If you watch just Marvel movies, you're still not gonna know anything about cinema. You're still not gonna know anything about films. Like you're still gonna have that empty hole, but you're gonna have like this fake feeling of fullness. Like that's what I kind of think is Marvel cinema means. Like because obviously yes, there are films, but they're not consequential films. A Marvel film doesn't change the movie industry. A Marvel film like fits into the movie industry as it exists.
To play devil's advocate, I mean, Marvel movies have just affected other movies.
Yes, because now we have Avatar 2, The Way of the fucking Pussy Juice. Fuck that fucking movie, dude. I fucking hate this shit. It's awful.
But they influence it because they have action. And I mean, like, we hate Marvel movies, but yet they bring people to the theaters.
Well, yeah, they bring like a bunch of like. I think the reality is that like fucking. I don't think that many people like movies anymore. People would rather watch TikTok and play Fortnite. And I think that a Marvel movie is just just a 90% chance that whenever you say, "Hey, let's all go to the movies," if you open your phone and look on Fandango, a Marvel movie is going to be on the top. I think that's the reality. Of
But that's the problem, That's the real problem, is that you can't, you just don't have a lot of, and I think any movies that do make it onto, I think generally I'm supportive of, like, films being promoted on, or just being reshared on social media, but I really hate it when they make it a short, so you only see a third of the screen, and then, because that's not how the director intended it. The director intended to have, a certain aspect ratio for you to see, and then you're just making it into a short, and you only see like a third of the screen. I was watching this short on YouTube Shorts. I wanted to look up like the behind the scenes of like Marriage Story or something, and then I was looking, and it gave me like, always suggests like that I watch shorts, and then it was like a clip of the big fight scene in Marriage Story, which, by the way, Marriage Story is so much more than the fight scene.
Yeah, with that one part where he goes, "Every morning I wake up."
I can do the impression, buddy. Every day I wake up and I wish you were dead.
Good. That's good. Adam Driver.
Thank you. Ready?
Oh,
I have not seen the new Star Wars.
He sees Finn and he's like, "Nigger!" to Finn.
What if kids want to watch this? I put it not for kids.
They take
Oh yeah. Every day I wake up and I wish you were dead. Anyway, funny Marriage Story, by the way, is way more than just. Marriage Story is way more than just that fight scene.
marriage boring.
Get out! Marriage Story is probably one of the best films ever. There's nothing about it. I don't think this is working. I don't think this is working. Okay, wait.
You can. I'm just. Oh wait, I don't.
Whew. Is it?
Sure, it's
Yeah,
not. Wait.
No. Yeah, it's working. Okay, so the point is that, oh right, I was watching the short I was watching. This short, YouTube short, was not only the fight scene from Marriage Story cut in that, in the short form. They put it in black and white, and they put the "Say Something" piano ballad over it. Like, get out. No, like the piano ballad. Do, 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 do. Like, and I.
It's that song.
It's the same, the piano ballad. Before the song started. And I was just like, oh my god. Like, really ruined the scene. You did not, like, you have no, like, everything that Noah Baumbach is trying to do with this scene, you ruined it. Like, and it's like, that's just not what the scene is. Noah Baumbach did not choose to have a score with the song Say Something. He chose to have a score, written by, uh, composed by Randy Newman, and there was no music in that scene. It was supposed to be music, not in black and white. It's just that not like some black and white movie. It's not a black and white movie, and it's not supposed to be in short form either. And you know, well, let's say goodbye.
Goodbye, bye. Have a great day.
Well, Jordan and I will try to see either Beau is Afraid or Past Lives in theaters.
Past lives. Oh, I saw the poster for that. The girl in that is cute. That's all. That's all I know about it. Yeah, yeah. If that's her name. That's it. That's my comment.
Okay, so we'll see a movie in theaters. I need to bring Jordan to an AMC and expose her to all that's wonderful about the AMC theaters. You've seen the Nicole Kidman ad? We're going to an AMC, so that means we can't see Beau is Afraid because Beau is Afraid it's not an AMC anymore. So, okay, so thank you so much for talking with me,
Happy to be here.
and we will maybe see this in a couple years and be like, and
Oh my god, I looked like that. Yes.
say with me.
Wait. Speak to future me. Yes, I do look like this, future Jordan. And you know what? Get your sleep schedule right so you can fucking look pretty every day.
What that has the bad sleep schedule?
I know, but I hope that future me has a good sleep schedule. Future me better have had like a solid.
You should get a good sleep schedule now.
Yeah, I know, and I hope that future me has a solid sleep schedule for like 6 years.
Good. You need a good sleep schedule because film shoots are like 9 a.m. to 9 or like 10 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Thank you so much. We're gonna go edit my short film now, and I'll see you guys.
Let me say how your roommate. I don't think they're in there.
Well, then who is making all that noise? Let's say goodbye. We'll see you